As for Maynilad, we're told that Maynilad is now trading at 15 per share after falling briefly to 14.98 per share at the open. Let's head on back to the PSC and BGC and speak with Maynilad's Chief Finance Officer later on in the show. In about 2 minutes, we'll have Dicky with us. Alfred Garcia is still with us here in the studio of AP Securities. So they're holding up fine from the peso, the PSCI, and Maynilad's IPO listing.
Well, for the market broadly, we've seen a lot of sell-offs in the past week or so, since we have been expecting a worse than expected GDP print, but it's not quite this bad, the original expectation. But I guess we have mostly priced in the negative surprise. So hopefully it should hold up at these levels, at around 5.7.
At 5.7, especially as the peso nears possibly maybe 59.
Right.
That's the last time we were. And
we're
that
hoping
was,
it will hold up at around 59.
Do you think there might be some help coming from the Bangko Sentral at this point?
Hopefully so. Well, again, as I mentioned before, it's a line in the sand for the BSP, but a line in the sand, you can quickly erase that. So it really depends on the BSP if they want to continue supporting the peso at that level.
What about for Maynilad? We saw it fall briefly at 14.98, and now it's back at 15. Is it getting some support from its underwriters?
Well, number one, it should be getting some support from the investors because it was oversubscribed. The IPO was oversubscribed. So I'm pretty sure there are still some investors who are waiting to get into Maynilad. And another thing, they do have a stabilization fund, which is required now for every company that's going public. So maybe the support's coming from both of those directions.
Okay, well, let's pick up on where we left off earlier with the non-water revenue. It's pretty important that Maynilad gets to narrow its percentage of non-revenue water because when you compare that with Manila Water, Manila Water has less.
Yes.
So how much of a risk is that going forward post-listing?
Well, the non-revenue water is just a concern because it impacts the efficiency of Maynilad. So that would narrow their margins because the more water is leaking out from their system, they would make less while they're still paying for the same amount to produce the water. So there's one thing that they can address, and they are allocating capex for that to address the NRW problem. Hopefully they will get it down, and that will make the company even better.
And there's also an increasing tariff schedule, which ends in 2027. So that's
Right.
that's something good for Maynilad.
Right. So for this regulatory period, they have already set the tariff increases for the two concessionaires, Maynilad and Manila Water, for the period covering 2023 to 2027. So it's already set until 2027 that the water charges will go up. So although it will trim a bit in 2026, 2027, it will be a bit lower than the previous years.
All right. I believe we've got our Maynilad official here, Ramon Fernandez, the president and CEO of Maynilad. So good to see you, Ramon, and congratulations.
Hi, Kathy. Good morning. Good morning.
All right, so are you happy with how Maynilad listed? It fell at 14.98, as Alfred tells me here, but it's back up to 15 per share.
Yes, definitely very happy with the strong investors' interest, both local and international.
At 15 pesos apiece, how much is the expected yield, Bon?
Our dividend yield that we have in our prospectus is anywhere between 6 to 6.5, or even up to 7, depending on the results of Maynilad.
You know, several other companies lined up alongside Maynilad to list before the year is out, but decided to postpone because of the market conditions. So why did you decide against postponing until maybe the May deadline next year?
Yes, Kathy. Aside from uh, really aside from really addressing the requirements of our legislative contract, we believe that Maynilad has strong fundamentals and also a long-term value proposition. Maynilad is a solid investment, catering and delivering to essential water services, and a very predictable cash flow. Because of this, we believe that we have generated very strong interest, as I mentioned, both domestically and locally, together with cornerstones like IFC and EPC. And the results are very encouraging. We were oversubscribed, and in fact compelled us to take the upside option. So, looking at the results of our IPO, I think we made the right decision at this point.
Tell us more about how you're going to deploy the proceeds that you're earning in today's listing, because not everything is going to be funded at this point. But tell us more about the investments outside the West concession.
Well, first of all, the investments, the proceeds from the IPO will be spent basically to fund the remaining part of our 163 billion capex commitment in this current rate review. And this capex will be addressing one, the pillar of water source, two, non-revenue water reduction, replacing our aging pipelines, and also leak repair. And then the third pillar will be for our wastewater services. And the third will be still to improve our customer engagement, IT, and also automation. So this will all be redounding to the company and eventually our customers.
Yeah, Alfred and I were talking about the non-revenue water, the NRW MON. What is your strategy to bring down non-revenue water from the first half's 35% to 20% by 2030?
Yes, as a matter of context, it is definitely a very important part of our strategy, the reduction of non-revenue. And for context, when we inherited, when we came in 18 years ago, the non-revenue water was 66%. And our priority then was to connect the people who have been wanting for water. Because when we entered, only 32% of our customers were having a 24-hour service. So after expanding our customer base and reaching out to those who have been thirsty of water, that's when we embark our journey into reducing non-revenue. And we're very happy that our strategies on creating DMAs, meaning small measurable areas that are more manageable, including our increasing our leak detection and leak repair teams from a previous of 30,000 leak repairs in the last 3 years. We're now averaging close to 70,000. In fact, we're ending the year with 72,000. The other one is, as I mentioned, replacing our aging pipeline. We have replaced already 72% of what we inherited, the 3,300 kilometers of pipelines that we inherited. So we will continue to replace those. And then the fourth strategy is to use advanced technology, including AI.
Investors very keen on what happens now to the dividend policy. It's been pretty generous pre-listing. How soon then can Maynilad hand out dividends to investors from listing date, considering you've got these expansion plans right before you?
Yes, we have declared this dividend policy as part of the policy of Maynilad, and it's board approved by our board. And it's very compelling, actually. 50% of previous year's net income and 40% of adjusted net income. This we will distribute after the closing of our books for this year. We expect the closing of our books by February, so dividends should be paid out March or April of next year.
Are you keeping to a certain debt to equity level, Mon?
Yes, we are. We have in fact a more conservative metrics versus the debt covenants that we have. We are definitely going to be disciplined in our use of our resources.
Let me pick up on prime water because it's also something that Alfred had mentioned earlier. Some news outlets have hinted that Maynilad is looking to acquire prime water of the Villar Group. Any truth to that?
Well, first of all, I'd like to emphasize that the priorities of Maynilad remain to be one, improving our services to our existing customers. Second, a low-hanging fruit is offering wastewater and sanitation services to our existing commercial and industrial customers because this is not covered by our service obligations. Definitely, compliance to DNR and environmental regulations are still wanted. So this is a low-hanging fruit for us, the second one. The third one is to service the requirements of the two big reclamation projects that are ongoing today in Manila Bay. This is part of our conception area. And they have already, we're already in talks with them to supply water to these two reclamation areas. It will take a decade maybe for these cities to be developing. But as soon as their construction start, we will serve their water requirements. The third area, the fourth area of potential expansion are the cities and municipalities adjacent to Maynilad in the north, where Bulacan LGUs are there, and in the south, where some Cavite LGUs are in our borders. So this is a low-hanging fruit also for us because if the LGUs in these adjacent areas are wanting for improved water and wastewater services, we are there, their neighbor, very close neighbor, our facilities, our pipelines, our network are already in their doorsteps. So that's also another opportunity for Maynilad and also for the LGUs that are wanting. We are not in direct talks with Maynilad is not in talks with Prime Water today.
All right, well, we got that. And a lot of low-hanging fruits before you, a lot of work. Ramon Fernandez, congratulations. And to the team, I won't want to keep you. The celebration is still continuing there at the Trading Hall of the Philippine Stock Exchange, the president and CEO of Maynilad.